What's up, Team Shrugs? Happy to be back with two gentlemen that I have nothing but the utmost respect for. We got Grandmaster Jerry Fontanez returning, and Mr. Scott Hlubik, who has been nothing but a great sparring partner and sports commentator with me alongside, doing a lot of different analysis on things. I'm happy to have them both here. I stumbled upon a video for Mr. Chael Sonnen discussing the Rosenstrike-Ngannou fight from 249. And I thought it was a very interesting video because he discussed what is kickboxing, should kickboxing even be considered a sport, the lack of head movement, and also use the words Muay Thai. So I wanted to bring in two gentlemen who are very, very, very well versed in both kickboxing and Muay Thai and have a discussion amongst the two of them with regards to what they heard in that video and their thoughts on the heavyweight division and stand-up fighting in the UFC. Gentlemen.
Thank you.
You want to go first, Scott?
No, go ahead. All due respect, you go first.
I appreciate it. I guess it's age before beauty, no problem.
That's it. That's it.
Right. So the way, first, let me just say, I'm a huge Chael Sonnen fan, and I understand that he is Mr. Controversy. He was taught, of course, following Gorgeous George and P.T. Barnum and the rest of them, because remember, his career never had a record that you would consider anything to watch, but he was able to get paid more than most for a long time. So I'll take whatever he says with tongue in cheek, and that guy is one of the smartest freaking people ever in sports. Hence, Conor McGregor followed suit and so on and so forth. And others took notes. So on that note, he's going to create controversy as the bad guy, and I love it. All right. So the bad guy said that MMA and striking and Muay Thai and kickboxing, which are two different things, right? So he didn't clarify. When someone says kickboxing, my question is under what rules? Now, when someone says Muay Thai, I can even ask under what rules too, because there's versions of those things too, slightly different but similar. You see them the way they fight in Thailand as opposed to other countries, you know, like Amsterdam, and it's similar but different, even though their tactics. The common denominator, elbows and knees. That's and the head, actually, you know, cupping the neck. But in American kickboxing, as some people know it, it's pretty much boxing, Western boxing, slip, jab, cross, hook, so on and so forth. Yeah, with a kick above the waist. That's what it was. That was very popular, and actually going to have more of that coming around too. However, in today's day and age, you have people such as Francis Ngannou that could probably be doing as good in American boxing, because between him, or did we lose him?
Yeah, we may have lost Scott. I'm sure he'll join us again when he can.
Yeah. Or between him and Deontay Wilder, they may have the same father. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they know how to do a jab. But don't get hit. So I love the fact that you have so much power.
Right.
It doesn't really matter. Hit. Yeah, just don't. Yeah, can they fight? Box? No. Don't get hit. You know. So that part of it is incredible. Scott. Yes, we knew that Rosenberg could have been absolutely doing the right thing, meaning getting out of the line of fire, not going straight in or straight out. But that takes a level of professionalism in any sport to be able to transfer that when you're under pressure. So it's always cool, right? You know, it's always funny how someone like Chael Sonnen, who couldn't strike, you know, out of paper bag when it was wet, you know? I mean, let's keep it real. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean I wasn't a Chael Sonnen fan. I was at his second to last fight at Bellator when he actually competed. So, and that was interesting. But I think that he's completely wrong into trying to compare oil and water, even though they're both two striking games. You can't really, in the same conversation exactly, without specifying the differences of Muay Thai and kickboxing. Because my question would have been, under what rules? Either or. Take it away, Scott.
Scott?
So, yeah, you know, it's funny because when I watched the clip and he's saying kickboxing isn't a sport, it reminded me of, like, years ago when I had a conversation with somebody and they were like, well, I feel like MMA is not a sport. And I was like, well, MMA is made up on 4 Olympic sports, right? You have your kicks from Taekwondo, you have your boxing, you have your punching from boxing, you have your wrestling, and you have your submissions from judo. So, like, same thing with kickboxing. You know, if we're talking about depending on the type of kickboxing we're talking about, it's American kickboxing. I feel like that's boxing, and you get your kicks from maybe karate, you know, maybe some other art, but those are definitely legit sports. So I don't agree with that where he says it's not a sport, you know. And then he brought up some points about, you know, in Muay Thai when they don't have head movements, you know. And if you're talking about traditional Muay Thai, yeah, you're not going to see a whole lot of movement, head movement, but it all depends on the athlete that is training in the Thai boxing, you know. I had 2 Thai boxing coaches that had boxing experience before they took up Muay Thai kickboxing. So even though I learned Thai boxing, there was a little boxing twist of it. And I feel like that it all depends on the athlete, who they're being coached by, who they're being trained by. But if you go to Thailand, yeah, they're not going to have your traditional head movement like you would in boxing, you know. You know, I think it all depends on the athlete. You know, for a long time, the Thais obviously did really well in their own type of Thai boxing until the Dutch came by. This guy, Roman Dekkers, came by, and he studied Thai boxing, but he added his own little twist to it, which was boxing. And he shook up the world. I mean, he beat up a bunch of people, won a bunch of titles over there, and he added a little twist to it, you know, which is just the boxing. You know, nowadays I feel like when you have an MMA fighter and they're training and everything, they're not really a Thai fighter. Even if their background is Thai boxing, it's not really Thai because they have so many different elements, you know, boxing and you know, now karate is getting popular again, which I never think it should have stopped being, you know, popular. You know, I think it was always a very important martial art with distance and just being able to be in and out, you know. So, you know, I don't fully agree with what he said, but I understand some of his points and stuff. But, you know, this is also coming from a guy who isn't really a striker.
So the point, one of the big points for me was that we're talking about 2 heavyweights. And if we look at any of these combat sports and we look at the heavyweights, we're typically looking at the least skilled fighters. Always. Any combat sport. We're talking boxing. Typically, we're talking about the least skilled fighters. You have the outliers. You have the Muhammad Alis. But really, for the most part, they're the least skilled guys. There's that. Also, we're talking about putting the onus on the sport or the practice of the art rather than putting the onus on the fighter in the ring. That's Rosenstrike's fault. It's not his background and where he came from that he decided that night, I'm going to stand there and bang with a guy that hits harder than me and not get his head out of the line of fire. Who can we blame for him not moving his head out of the way? His background as a kickboxer with an unblemished record, or the fact that he didn't move his damn head out of the way that day? It's unbelievable.
And you what?
Any thoughts on that?
I can guarantee that Rosenstrike. Yeah, I can guarantee when Rosenstrike, who trains out of American he trains out of American Top Team now. I can guarantee they worked on angles and pivoting it out. But when you have a 270-pound man sprinting after you, because in the beginning he was landing the inside low kick, and he was moving, and I feel like, you know, that's like what he was trained to do. But, you know, again, I think he was caught off guard with the speed and just this huge mountain of a man coming straight after him.
Frightening.
Yeah. And again, it's just funny to see transit. I mean, again, the man's only had 3 years of training, but I mean, you know, no skill in what he did. It just unhuman power.
And again, we see composure. With some composure and skill, we see what happened when he fought Stipe. The same thing that would happen again if he fought Stipe. I know he's at the top of the mountain now. People are very impressed. He is an impressive specimen. He is a freak of nature. But to disregard the fact that someone who's that much more skilled, who has an idea of angles, distance, timing, and management, would not be able to do the same thing Stipe did the first time, I think that's foolhardy to say something like that.
Well, that's another subject matter, but I completely agree with that in terms of skill set. But getting back to the Muay Thai for a second is interesting because even though they don't see him anymore, but Phil Nurse was the Muay Thai trainer for all, whether it was George St. Pierre and everybody for years. The light-skinned black guy you saw in the background of Europe, he was always there. He's from Canada. Stood in New York for a while. Actually, my ex-wife promoted while he fought a few times. But the technique that he was teaching, that all of a sudden, and this is maybe off the cuff, but what happened to the Superman punch? It disappeared, right? They used to be like the kryptonite to everybody. They used to get knocked out. And then when George St. Pierre did it, which is really a dive bomb done wrong.
Sure, they knocked Wonder Boy out with one.
Yeah. He did that, but using the fence too, which is kind of cool. But besides that, remember, they used to be like, oh no,
Correct.
It's the Superman punch. And Phil Nurse showed exactly how to do it properly, and they flow from one to the other. And you got to give George St. Pierre an example. He was as good as Muay Thai as anybody else, you know, but at the same time, he was doing so many other things. He's not a wrestler, but he wrestled the wrestlers, you know. He comes from Kyokushinkai. That's traditional karate, which is a Japanese style created by a Korean. You figure, you know, so, because that's what Masuyama is. He's really Korean. The point is that, yes, the person who is standing in front of you, or like Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Get punched in the face.
In the face. And that's what happens, right? So you know you're training, but the choke factor, man, guys, those of you who have fought before, you know that there is a pucker rule. You know, you're like, oh, man, I don't know if I have to go to the bathroom, or did I go already? You know, oh, this guy's a lot bigger than I thought. Wait a minute, the cage is closed, or the schoolyard now. You know, is even the pressure in the schoolyard, you know, when people were close by, if you ever had an opportunity to have one of those types of fights, you know, it's the same thing where you either, when the frontal cortex kicks in, the adrenaline starts punching, you're going to do one of three things: fight, flight, or freeze. Fight, flight, or freeze. So if you freeze, it makes it easier for you to get dropped. And probably that might have been the best thing that happened to him, because he might have got hurt. Sometimes the hit go down, and if he's still coming, might be better off than getting beat and busted up, you know, to the point where
like Tony Ferguson. Yeah.
Like Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, because Tony's. There's
about that man.
There's that saying where you're too tough for your own good. No doubt he could take the shots, but should he have taken all those shots? Is the one thing, you know.
Well, he was blocking with his face, right? If you block with your face, eventually the person's hand gets tired or they get exhausted. So if your face can take it, remember, he's not a normal guy, never has been, right?
No, he's not.
And I made a mistake calling him, saying that he was. But I'm still a huge fan of his, and I called that one wrong. I didn't expect that. But just to be fair, hey, both these dudes.
I would say to you that the two that you and I called wrong, because we discussed them beforehand. We discussed the Cruz Cejudo fight. We discussed the Ferguson Gaethje fight. And the two that we called wrong, we called based off knowledge we had of what those guys presented us in the past. And those two guys did not show up the same way.
No.
Ferguson did not throw any body punches, any punches on angles, and did not get his head out of the way of anything. And that is not what he typically presents.
But again,
so we called it wrong, and they decided to do something different.
Right. So what happens? He's fighting against a wrestler that won gold. He's known as a wrestler that can strike and move. So all of a sudden, what's he going to do? Try to take down? No, he can't. And for whatever it's worth, do you realize, shout out to the Latinos, because all you had there was nothing but Latinos. Gaethje's a Mexican. And so is Ferguson, even though they don't have those names. You know that? Which is crazy, which means that they're fighting with a Mexican mindset.
Yes, all four have Mexican moms. All four of the main event guys.
Isn't that something, right?
Yep.
But I'm saying just the fact that when we say Mexican fight, you know it's going to be blood and guts. Mexican fight, you know they're going nowhere. So that's part of the mindset. You know, which is incredible. But Gaethje, let's keep it real. Gaethje normally fights circular. his basics got so
Yes.
much better. That night, oh my God, I don't care who he would have fought. His striking was up to par, and his footwork is what made it possible. Oh my gosh. He looked like a professional boxer that was refined. So, you know, all kudos to his trainer and him for following it. And he gives him all the credit. I was very impressed by that because I'm a fan of Gagey, but you know, he made those two mistakes. You know, he blocked with his face and he got taken out. And that's the part that I believe Ferguson was still banking on. Yes, I'm blocking with my face, but I could block him with my face longer than he can because eventually I'm going to get him. And he went down, not once, but twice. But when he eventually, with the accumulation, he did get hurt probably. And it wasn't from the hard blows. He got blows a lot harder in the first, you know, in the beginning, I believe. But after a while, the accumulation will take anybody down. You chop that tree down. But I mean, my heart goes out to, you know, Ferguson only because, not only because he lost, but we get a chance. We don't get a chance now to see that fight that we've been waiting for like 5 years or whatever it is. And that's no exaggeration.
Correct.
How unfortunate is that? We spoke about how the pandemic might have happened because that fight is so jinxed, you know. So, you know, it's crazy, but realistically, the Khabib versus Ferguson may never happen in so many ways than one, to the point where it's not only jinxed and we had a pandemic because of it. That's why I'm giving that it was because of that fight was going to happen. Because how many ways can you cancel a fight, you know, and then having him lose? But man, big shout out and props to Justin Gaethje, because that guy, if he would have fought like that, he would be undefeated.
Agreed. He looked good.
Shocking.
Sorry, I want to thank you for your time, the analysis.
Hopefully it helped
We're
out.
going to reconvene, do another one of these as soon as we
Yes, sir.
can. And we always something new to talk about. Always wonderful to get all the different insights. I thank you for your time. I know you're busy today. Go ahead and take that next meeting, and we will talk soon. Everyone, thanks for joining Team Shrugs.
AB, see you soon. Thank you.
See ya.
All right.